Here's a crazy story about how I turned the sale of one property into 7 different transaction sites. So real quick, before we get into that story, welcome to the channel. My name is Lor Vang. I am a local real estate agent in the greater Milwaukee market. And if you've never been to my channel before, I create real estate related videos to help other real estate agents just like you. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about why real estate agents should create a focus and a specialty to work with real estate investors. All right, so let's get into the video. Why should you as a real estate agent focus on working with real estate investors? Well, because of the current market situations that we're in right now, at the time of this video, winter 2023, rates are between 7.5, 8, and moving up and down every day. So rates are climbing, which makes retail buyers sensitive to that and afraid from the home affordability standpoint. And also because of the inventory levels. We're still very low inventory, especially typically in winter, of course, less sellers are listing their homes. And so you do have that traditional winter market slowdown. But combined with the higher interest rates and the really lack of inventory, I mean, there's not enough homes to even look at right now. So a lot of retail buyers are sitting on the sidelines, hoping and praying for 1, more inventory, and 2, lower interest rates for better home affordability. Whether that actually happens is to be determined. So on the flip side, real estate investors are not too concerned about a home's affordability or the interest rate, because what matters to them is, does this property cash flow? Will it bring in a profit for me at the end of the day? Because a real estate investor has a different type of money problem. They are not concerned about if the home is actually affordable to buy. They are concerned about they have too much money in the bank and they have to go buy a property, put it in a rental property or a flip so that they can return more money back into their pocket, so that they can have their money continuously making more money for them. That is their problem. And so that is also why real estate investors will end up buying more properties through you as an agent, rather than your typical retail buyer who probably only moves once every 5 years. Some real estate investors might end up buying multiple homes with you in 1 year. And so that brings us full circle back to the beginning of this video. How did I turn the sale of one property into 7 separate transaction sites? So here's the story about that. I had a first-time home buyer come to me that was referred to me, and he wanted to not only buy his first home, but he wanted to get started in real estate investing. And so he wanted to utilize a strategy known as house hacking. And this is just a term that people use, but basically you buy a multi-unit home, you go live in one of the units, and then you rent out the other units. And so your tenants will help to cover your mortgage. And so not only does this set you up for a future of wealth building, but it also helps you to get into a home more affordably. So he got pre-approved for a pretty decent budget. We started shopping for homes. We put in about 3 or 4 offers. We just kept getting beat left and right. And so it was really competitive. It was really disappointing for him, almost to the point where he had thought about giving up. And so, I really felt bad for him. There wasn't much I could do for him based on the current level of competition and what was on the market, which again, it was low inventory at the time. So what I ended up doing was I ended up reaching out to my network of investors, and I started thinking about, who do I know that owns a duplex in a pretty good area where they might be thinking about selling? And so I started, going through my Rolodex, and I came across one of my investors that I talk to all the time. So I gave her a call. Hey, do you still own that property that you told me about over there on that street? And she's like, yep. Would you be interested in possibly selling it? I have a retail buyer who's looking to get started, a young buck looking to get started in real estate investing, kind of like you. And she was thinking like, well, for the right price, of course, anything is possible. And, so she gave me a number. She gave me a number. I gave it to my potential buyer. He was okay with that. He's like, oh yeah, I would buy that if you sell it to me for that. So they already had a number agreed upon. And the only condition was that he wanted to see it. He wanted to walk it, make sure it was good. And of course he did his own inspection, all that. And so everything was good. So we ended up finding him an off-market property that he would be able to buy to live in, to do his house hack. And so I was representing both sides of that. So I got 2 transactions from that one sale. And then my real estate investor who owned the property was like, oh, now that you've helped me sell this property already, now you need to help me replace it. I need you to help me put my money to work so I don't pay Uncle Sam. So essentially what she was referring to was that she wanted to do what's known as a 1031 exchange or a Starker exchange. And essentially what that means is that when you have an investment property that you are going to sell, the IRS has a code 1031 that allows you to potentially take 100% of that profit. And instead of getting hit with capital gains tax on that, you roll those profits right into your next investment property. So as soon as we got that property under contract with my buyer, now I had to go help my investor, the seller of this duplex, to go find and purchase replacement property. And I was just thinking in my head that she just wanted to buy one property for some reason to do an equal exchange. But no, she actually had intended to use all the profits to maximize it, where all the profits would be the down payment for multiple properties. And so of course, she's buying less expensive properties because the property she was selling was worth much more in a better location. So now that we're moving to a different location, her money goes up further. So she's able to trade that one property into multiple less expensive properties. So as long as, if you're thinking about a trade, equal trade, they just have to be equal value, correct? So that higher price property could be equal to multiple properties in a less expensive area. So 1031 exchanges have a lot of rules that you have to follow, and as well as a lot of moving pieces and key deadlines that you have to meet. And so I won't get into too much detail, but the gist of it is that you have 45 days from the time of the sale of the property that you're going to get rid of to trade into the other properties. So you have 45 days to identify, they call it, your replacement property or properties if you're buying multiple. And then you have 180 days from the date of closing of that property you're going to trade to actually close on those new properties. So there is a lot of pressure if you don't know what you're doing and if you're not on top of everything. So we got started immediately. We started looking as soon as we went under contract on the property that she was going to sell. We started looking immediately for the replacement properties. And as I mentioned, she was really interested in using all of her profit, 100% of the profit, towards leveraging all of that. So meaning using them as down payment to acquire even more properties through the loan. So she wasn't planning on just getting one property and being done with it. She was going to really get the value out of the profit of this property. All right, so now my investor who is selling her duplex to 1031 gets pre-approved, and now the fun starts. Now we can start shopping. And so right away, we're looking for duplexes. We're looking at a couple. We found one that had actually just came back on the market. So meaning that it fell out of the market for whatever reason, fell out of contract, and then it came back. And so we did some negotiating with the seller on that one, came to an agreement on a price, boom, we got that one under contract. So now we've got, the 2 transaction sides, I've got the 2 transaction sides for the sale of her property. And then I got this one for the duplex, so that's 3. And then right after that, we end up getting a single family property that was priced really affordably. We did some negotiating on that one as well. We got that one. So now we're up to 4 transaction sides. And then as we're looking for a property, another real estate investor in my network messages me. Hey, you remember that property that you were helping me with? Can you find out how much it's worth? And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. So it's a duplex, all brick, 2 bedrooms each unit, fairly nice area. And then she's like, yeah, I think if you can get me like a certain price like this, I'd be willing to sell it. Can you help me with that? Yeah, I can help you with that. Yeah, in fact, I know a person who's looking to buy right now. And so I bring her over there, I look at it, I tell her the price. She likes it, do some negotiating again, boom, we got that one on contract. And because of that one, I'm also representing both sides. So, now I'm up to 6 transaction sides. And so she's got 3 properties under contract to purchase at this point. And she's feeling like, you know what? I think I need another one. And so I'm like, okay, let's go. And so, you know, we're looking for another property. We come across this other duplex that's really nice. Do some negotiating again with this one, and boom, we got that one. So now she's got 4 properties under contract. She's getting ready to sell her duplex, and you know, my buyer's ready to buy that one. So we've got everything all lined up nicely here. And of course, how does it go from here? So for my buyer that was planning to purchase my investor's duplex to house hack, his loan went through just fine, super smooth, no issues. We even did inspection, nothing wrong with the house. So we carried on. Now we were just handling her 4, and each one was, you know, a separate contract, a separate different seller, trying to juggle 4 different sellers and, you know, 1 buyer and 1031. It was a giant, you know, mess, for lack of better words. But you know, we actually had to fire one of the lenders initially that we started with. We switched to a different lender, and then that lender wasn't really good. And so we had to switch again to another lender. And eventually we found a lender who was competent enough and had everything together that could pull everything off. And it was absolutely amazing. It was quite the work involved, but of course, you know, to be able to accomplish something of that magnitude, trading one property for 4 different properties, 4 different sellers, and a buyer, it was quite spectacular when we were all done and everything was closed, and everybody was happy. So that was quite the amazing craziness that I had to go through, but we did it. So as you can see, while working with investors isn't quite as simple sometimes. It can get complicated, but it is definitely worth it if you want to venture into that niche and develop your skill set there. It's definitely well worth it. And you know, to become a competent real estate agent who is investor savvy, who understands what investors are looking for, it does take some time to learn, and it does take some practice. So if you're interested in learning how to be an investor savvy agent and how to do that, and you have questions, feel free to reach out to me for any questions. Email me, DM me, and I can help you out. So thank you so much for watching today's video. And if you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.